Hi, if this is your first time here, welcome to my YouTube channel. Or if you're like me and you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Chaotic Curl, and before we get into this week's video, don't forget to, as always, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and of course, don't forget to follow me over on TikTok and on Instagram at chaoticcurl_crafts, where you'll be able to see pictures and videos of this week's project, as well as previous projects that I've worked on. So I'll see you guys over there. So for this week's video, I already made it. I ended up making a mesh sweater in one piece, but you guys of course are gonna get to see the process. So when I first started the video, you're gonna see basically the stitch that I'm using in the next clips, and in the rest of the video I'm just kind of giving you guys a background of what happened. So when I started the video, the plan was to make everything in panels. So I did want that V shape like I always like in all of my sweaters and cardigans. But when I worked everything up, I actually just ended up hating the way that it looked. So what I did, as you'll see in the video, is I actually undid everything and I made everything in one piece. So this is actually my first time making a crochet sweater all in one piece, from the bottom ribbing of the back panel all the way up the back panel, across the sleeves to the front panel, all the way down to the bottom ribbing on the front panel. So everything was done in one piece, which of course you'll see in the next coming clips, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up so that you know what you were looking at. And as always, I did link all of the materials that you'll need down below. I made sure to also include any tutorials that you guys might need. And in order to make this pattern, you do want to know how to double crochet, chain stitch, and slip stitch. So you are going to want to know how to do those three things. I do feel like this is a very beginner friendly pattern. So of course, if you want to give it a try, join me in making it as well. And I'll see you guys at the end with your sweater as well as with mine. But I hope you guys can enjoy the clips of this week and this project and just the backflips that I had to do to get to where we ended up. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys some of the supplies that I'm going to be using for this project. As you can see, I have my yarn. Now this is going to be the TWEEDLE yarn from the brand Red Heart, or Lions brand. Yeah, Lions brand yarn. It's called TWEEDLE, and unfortunately this yarn is actually discontinued, but when it was in progress or process, when they were making it with 310 yards a skein, and this color is actually called Ginger. Now I do have other projects using this yarn, but you can just make it with whatever yarn. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one. This yarn is a size 3 lightweight, and it actually calls for a 5mm hook, which is the hook that I have right here in front of us. So this is what I'm going to be using, as well as my stitch markers, and of course anything else that I might use I will make sure to link in the description box down below. And this is the pattern that we will be making. As you can see, it's a double V, so that's 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 double crochet with a bow like stitch in the middle. But of course I'll show you guys how to do that. This is just what the pattern is looking like, and this is actually the back panel completed. So I'll show you guys what the pattern looks like, and then of course we'll keep working on the rest of the panels. Okay, now this is just an example. I go ahead and I started off by making a chain of 26 stitches, since it's going to be 13 times 2, just so that you guys can see a good representation of what the pattern is going to look like. But I went ahead and made the correct number of chains, so 26, 13 times 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and in that first stitch I'm going to work my chained or my stacked single crochet like I always do. So I'm not going to make any additional chains. I'll just go right into that first stitch, or right into that first chain from my hook, and as you can see, insert, make that first single crochet, and then in the back leg of the single crochet I insert, pull through, make the second one, and there we have the stacked single crochet. And then I'm going to do another double crochet into the same stitch. And for this pattern, for the first row, I'm going to go ahead, chain 3, and into the 4th stitch from where I worked my pattern, I'm going to slip the stitch and then go ahead, chain another 3, skip another 4 stitches, and in that 4th stitch I'll work the double V stitch, which as you can see is going to be 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 double crochet to finish the stitch. And then I'll just go ahead and repeat the same thing I did on the other side, which is chain 3, slip the stitch into the 4th chain from the hook, and then again chain 3 and finish off with 2 double crochet in that last stitch. Okay, now for the second row, as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead, turn my work my stacked single crochet into that first stitch so that it's my first double crochet, and then I do another double crochet into the same stitch as the stacked single crochet. I'm going to go ahead, chain my 3, work my slip stitch into the slip stitch from the previous row so it's more easy to identify what it looks like, and then again chain 3, and I'm going to work the double V stitch into the V stitch from the previous row. So right into that chain space, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then another 2 double crochet. And just like I did with the first row, I'll finish by doing my chain 3, slipping the stitch into the stitch that I slipped in the previous row, and then again finishing off with that chain 3 and 2 double crochets in the last double crochet of the row. Okay, now with the first 2 rows completed, and as you can see, those 2 bows down there, we're going to get started on the repeat. Now, as you can see, this is a 3-row repeat, and I will make sure to link this pattern down in the description below so you guys can check it out for yourselves if you need a closer look. But it's a 3-row repeat, so we're going to start the same way we started the first row. I'm going to do 2 double crochet into that first stitch, and then I'm actually going to chain 7. Now keeping in mind this is the first row of our repeat, so that's chain 7, and then we're going to go right into the center and we'll do our double V stitch, which is 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. So now that's my 2 double crochet. I go ahead and chain 2, and then we do 2 more double crochet in that same space. And then again, chain 7. 1, 2, 3. And if you were continuing the row from here, you would do another double V stitch and continue that way until you make it to the end, where, as you can see, we're going to do 2 double crochets into that last stitch and then turn our work. Double crochet. For row 2 of the repeat, you're going to start the way we've started every other row with 2 double crochet in that first stitch. We're going to chain 3, and we're going to actually skip 3 stitches from the previous row. So that's 1, 2, 3 into the 4th stitch, or that middle stitch, and we're just going to do a slip stitch and then chain another 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then we make it to the middle to do our double V stitch, which is what you would be doing in the center if you're going to continue the row. But for my example, this would be the only one I'd be doing. So that's 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and then we're starting on the second bow, and we'll do another chain 3, slip the stitch in the middle of the previous row, and then again chain 3, 4, and then another chain 3, and to finish the row we do 2 double crochet into that last stitch. Okay, and that's what it should look like after the second row of the repeat, and this is the third and final row, which we'll work it basically the same as the second row. So we're going to start with our 2 double crochets in that first stitch, chain 3, slip the stitch into the previous row's slip stitch, another chain 3, and we work our double V stitch here, which would be 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip the stitch into the slip stitch from the previous row, chain 3, and we'll finish the row with 2 double crochet into the last stitch. And from here, we'll just turn our work and repeat from this 4th row until you're basically finished with your piece.
Hi, I'm back. So please ignore my hair. I just have an update on the project. So I ended up undoing the back panel that I had already gotten started because I've decided I'm gonna work this one up in one piece. So I'll start with the back panel so I can work up the back. So I'll start with the ribbing, work up, make sure I'll add the provision of the stitches for the sleeves, continue until, I make it to the front panel. So I'll start with my back panel with the ribbing, show you guys what that looks like and how that's going, and then I'll check in again once I'm ready to add the chain stitches for the sleeves. So I'll get started and I'll see you guys in my first check.
Okay, I'm back with an update on the sweater. Like I said, I was gonna update you guys when I got to the sleeve portion. So here it is. I did the chain and completed the first row for the sleeve. This is 87 stitches because it's the multiple of 13 plus 9 at the end for the way that I want to end the row. So now I'm just going to crochet across, and what you're going to see in the next clip is actually me making the chain for the other sleeve. So I'm just going to make that chain, attach it here, and then I'll continue crocheting across the row so that I have the full sleeve. So I'll show you guys what that looks like once the other chain is attached and I've completed the full first row. Okay, so I have an update on the project. This is where I am so far, and I'm actually gonna be making some changes. So I marked off where I'm gonna do the shoulders, and I'm actually gonna make it kind of like an off the shoulder top, and off the shoulder kind of thing here, because I want the sleeves to be more fitted. So I am at the size where I want the sleeves to be. This is half of my arm width. This is 6 inches. So I'm ready to do the other 6 inches for the sleeve, which means I'm ready to do the shoulder, which means I'm ready to do the neckline. So like I said, I divided for the neckline here. I would just need to, of course, crochet up to this point, and then I'll do the chain stitch across, and then reconnect my project and crochet and finish crocheting the rest of the project. Since I'm making a sweater, it is gonna look the same in the back as it is in the front. So this is gonna be the same thing that I'm creating, just so that, you know, it's the same over my shoulder. But of course, at the end, I will be adding the ribbing, and we'll see how long the sleeves are at the end of everything, if I like the length or if I wanna add a cuff. So far, so good. So I'm just gonna continue from here, and as you can see, I did already get started on that next row for the other side of the sleeves. So everything is just gonna basically continue. Like I said, I'm making this all one piece, so it's all just gonna continue until I get to 4 rows for the sleeves. So I'll have 8 total rows for the sleeves, and then I'll finish the back panel the same way I started off, by just working my way into, well, finishing the sleeves. Of course, I'll cut my yarn off, and then I'll reattach, and I'll just finish the bottom panel, and I'll come back to you guys when when I'm doing all of that. So I'll come back to you guys when I'm doing all of that big old mess. But as of right now, what you'll be seeing in the next clips is me basically finishing this row, making the chain for the stitches across, and then finishing the rest of the sleeve. So I'll come back and show you guys what that looks like once we have it. And I do have to say, this is actually working up a lot faster than any other time I've made a sweater or a cardigan. So I'm wondering if it's the stitch, or if it's that I'm making everything in one piece that's just kind of motivating me to crochet. So I am gonna be making another sweater or another cardigan. I'm gonna actually try to make a cardigan in one piece for my next project, but I'm definitely liking the way that this is working out. And I'm definitely loving the stitch, especially in this color. It looks so cute. So yeah, let's continue crocheting. What it's looking like so far. I've made it to the last row of the sleeves. So I'm actually just gonna work the last row of the sleeves with the first row so I can seam everything together. So that's what you guys are actually gonna be seeing now, but I just wanted to check in with what the sweater looks like so far. Okay, so to get started with crocheting everything together, we're going to start, as always, with my stacked single crochet for that first double crochet. And instead of completing the stitch, we're going to bring it to this point, and then I'm actually going to bring my other end. One second, and I'm just going to put my loop through here. Then I'm going to pull through all of the loops, and that'll be the first one. For our next one, we would go right into that next double crochet. I would just put my stitch in and then double crochet as normal. Go through all 3, and that attaches both sides. And then I'll literally just continue like this with my stitch, like regular. Now for every V stitch, we're going to be attaching at the chain spaces. So for here, I'm going to come right into this space down here, and I'm going to do my chain 2. Okay, I sewed the sleeves, well, I finished the last row of the sleeves and I seamed them all together, and now I'm finally able to try it on, and I love it. I love the way the neckline worked out. I love the way that it's working up. I even like the length, how cropped it is. You can see that. So I'm very happy with the way it's turning out so far. I'm just gonna continue from here. After this row, I'll have 3 more rows to go, and then I'll be working on the ribbing. So of course, once I finish the last 3 rows, I'll show you guys what it looks like. Then I'll do the ribbing, seam the sides together because the sides are definitely still gonna be open. I do have to cut the yarn now to finish off the sleeve, but I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm gonna finish the rows that I have left, show you guys what it looks. I'll finish the ribbing. I'll finish the ribbing, seam the sides together, and then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like once it's finished. Everything seamed together, everything closed up, and everything blocked. So I'll see you guys when I'm almost done and then when I'm done. Okay, so I've made it to the end. This is what it is looking like. Everything is seamed together. The sides are together. I just crocheted them together as I went, but everything is together. Everything is one piece. So now what I'm gonna do is do this final row here. I'm just gonna do a chain across the bottom, and then I'm gonna start with my ribbing. But this is what it is looking like so far, and like I said, I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like once it's done. And here it is, the finished sweater, all made in one piece. Now, like I said, we started with the ribbing in the back panel, and I worked my way all the way up to the front panel, all the way down to the ribbing that I attached in that final row. But this is what it looks like. I love the length of the sleeves. Super easy to work them up. I love the length of the sweater, super cropped, but it fits me perfectly. Honestly, it fits way better than what it did when I had those panels. Sorry about the outside noise. I can't control when they cut the grass, but it fits way better than when I had the separate panels. And I even like that I did the off the shoulder with the little fan detailing around the neckline, which I think is so cute. But I'm so happy with this pattern. I'm so happy with this project. And I did see on Pinterest another project involving the same stitch that I could definitely make and turn this from a cardigan into a 2-piece. So I'm definitely keeping that in mind. But for right now, I have this sweater and I'm definitely gonna enjoy the sweater. It's perfect for the summer, perfect mesh. I'm covered up, but it's breathable. It was an acrylic cotton blend, if I'm not mistaken, and I wish they would have kept making this yarn. I love the color. I love the detailing in the yarn, the way that it looks. I am so happy that I made this sweater. I'm so happy that I made this sweater, and I'm so glad that you guys were able to join me in this week's video. I hope that you enjoyed making whatever project you made as well. And if you made the same sweater, or even if you made something different, I do want to see it. So please go ahead and tag me on TikTok or Instagram at chaoticgirl_crafts, and I'll definitely see it over there. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.